Today was so weird. What time did I go to sleep? I went to sleep crazy late. Crazy late. And then woke up at 12:30. I've been doing that. I don't know what's going on. And then at 6 o'clock, I went back to sleep. I went to sleep for something like 4.5 hours. Crazy. Super weird. It's 1:30 right now. So I wasn't up very long. And I got a couple emails today. Things are in motion, and that's about it. I wasn't up very long. What have I been doing? I've started this thing okay, let me backtrack here. I've been going on Reddit and spending lots of time on Reddit seeing what people who buy plushies like. What size do they like? What kind of material do they like? Do they like animals? Do they not like animals? The hang tag, paper or plastic, or the soft feeling, the smells. And it was pretty interesting to see that different sizes for people had different purposes. So people would say, oh, there are some that are 10 feet tall, and those are so tall that such huge plushies. Oh, how much people will also spend on plushies. So tall that it can't even fit onto a bed, so it just has to sit on a corner, and people say, oh, it's very expensive, and you can't really do it too much with it. Then there are 5 foot, 6 foot plushies that lots of people like to have because they're human sized and you can hug them and cuddle them. And the average 12 to 16 inch plushie that people said was a normal sweet spot. And then small 8-inch and smaller, which were they're okay, but I don't really like to have a lot of them because they're only useful for putting in my pocket or in a purse and carrying around with me, or putting in a car. Nevertheless, I thought, okay, this is interesting. All these different size varieties for different reasons, and then seeing what brands were being offered. Then I would go onto the brand website and just look at how their website looked and what they offered other than the plushie. And something that I noticed on the websites was that you went there and you bought the plushie. You went to the website to buy the plushie, but there was nothing else on the website. It's just products, different kinds of products, and the classic about page and contact us page, and it was regular e-commerce website. And I wanted to make that poem. And I wanted to make that poem because what I saw from the plushies was a lack of plushie lore. Cabbage Patch Kids had this, and although I think people see those as dolls rather than plushies, and Build-A-Bear had this. I mean, not Build-A-Bear, Care Bears, which had a whole, the stories behind them, the TV shows. Although I imagine it was Care Bear first, the plushies first, and then the show. But a lore. And just in general, I have this series of, I don't know how many poems. A lot. I called them sticky note poems or post-it note poems. And I would write them on sticky notes. And I've been reading Hemingway, and I read Shel Silverstein's book of poems, Where the Sidewalk Ends, and then this other poem book, Poems for the Millennium. And I said, I had this little narrative puzzle poem idea, and I want to make poems for this, for Caroline. And I want to make poems that gradually introduce new plushies, because I was up at my dad's and I was saying, oh, he's a fine artist and he loves going to there's a furniture fair, and he always is, oh, I like the expensive furniture. Not expensive, but the fine furniture fair, that's what it's called. So designer furniture. And I was telling him, well, I know how to make these pillows. We can make fine furniture pillows. And so I drawn some shapes, and then I said, oh, look at this interesting, simple little shape. I could put an eye on it, and there you go. Now it's a plushie. And then I started to think, I have these 5 characters for Puzzle Bubs, but how much more could Puzzle Bubs be? In my poem, it always starts off with, in a town down the way, which is my equivalent of Once Upon a Time. And I thought, if there are all these different shapes and sizes, all these different sizes that I could do, rather than being like one of these other companies which just, does here's a spider that we have, a spider design. We have a small one, a medium one, and a large one. Or then they just have different sub-brands under their one brand. Here's our small brand, our medium brand, and our large brand. I've been thinking, why am I not creating a lore, and inside of that lore there are different characters, and then those different characters are different sizes. So I have Caroline and the rest of the Puzzle Bubs, who are going to be the 12-inch. And I keep doing this in a town down the way, and I'm thinking that I can create a whole plushy-verse. A plushy-verse where we have Caroline's, which are 12-inch, and then maybe there are bigger, 20, 24, 30-inch plushies that are buildings. A cube, it's a house. A cube with a triangle on top. And it's still the puzzle thing where the roof is attached to the base. and making these little characters. So eventually Caroline will go out on an adventure, maybe outside of town or in town, and we'll meet various little odd creature monster odd creatures of the town down the way. I was thinking it would do these little tiny cubes and call them cubelers or something. And you can buy puzzle bobs, and you can buy... I mean, people use these and they throw them on the bed, and I'm thinking, well, why not... okay, you can throw them on the bed, but maybe I can also help give them purpose. Give you a design that you could set up. You can buy these little houses, and you can construct your town down the way. And you can set up your puzzle bubs, and you can set up your cubelers, and you can set up whatever other little creatures I have with the houses, and maybe there's a city at some point. Soft city. And you have skyscrapers that you stack up with these giant puzzle piece cubes. I guess it's sort of like Legos, but it's this giant, puffy puzzle universe where everything is puzzle shaped. So I've been writing these poems. I would read one to you, but they're all on my phone. That are, as of right now, just sort of short narrative poems. And may expand to be less poem-like and more story-like. As I want to make them very short, and then they just sort of turn into being very long. And I think most of the time I'm sort of shocked. I think, wow, I can't even believe I wrote all of this. That's pretty spectacular. Maybe I could really write kind of a pretty serious, interesting children's novel. I mean, there are storybooks and picture books, like a Dr. Seuss, but the Dr. Seuss doesn't necessarily have a whole lot of words. What if it's a very dense page of words on the left, picture on the right, you flip it, very dense words on the left, picture on the right, and it's kind of a thicker little novel. I don't know. I guess it can grow and grow and grow, and in my mind I'm thinking that rather than me drawing the picture out, it's you set up the scene with the characters and the houses and the story and everything, and you take pictures of it. Do some photography. I don't know. But I really like that idea, and I like the idea of the lore. I don't know if I'll put it on the website right away. I think right now I'm making the poems. I don't really know what to do on Instagram, so I'm thinking the description will be these little poems. A picture of Caroline and then the poem. But eventually maybe I will have a website on the page so that when you come there, you can see it and read it. I mean, see the toys, buy the plushie, but also have another reason to be on the page. It feels so bland and boring when I go on to the other pages, and I see my page and I say, it's a little brighter, but nevertheless, it still is just buy my stuff. And I don't like that. It doesn't feel. It's not enough. It's not good enough. It's not fun enough. It has to have that poem. It has to have another reason for you to be there. It has to be, maybe I'm not going to buy it. And then you click on the story and you read through the story and you say, wow, there's a whole universe that I can dive into. Just thoughts, just thoughts. The video is way too long at this point, so I'm gonna cut it. I don't necessarily know if that explains the day. I haven't done too much today, so, as I said, it's just sort of been, everything's in motion, coming together now. So, we'll see, but I will talk to you tomorrow, and see you then.